Okay, hey everybody, Tim Timmons here with 10,000 Minutes, The Experiment.
Yes.
And to my right, I have Moy Donis.
Yellow.
To my hard left again,
Hard
Wang.
That's his nickname.
Ooh,
Hard
I
left.
don't know. I still got
I
some.
would be the hard left. Wouldn't I be the hard
Oh,
left?
man, maybe I'll be like
Oh,
the
distant
no.
left.
Around the
far left.
around
far
the
left, far
corner.
left. Dang it.
like left field.
Around the block.
Left out.
Around the block to my far left. Gosh, I've said that a few times. I hate myself.
No.
To my far
Still-
left
I love you,
is Chris Cleveland.
Hey guys.
You said hard left and weighing in. I was like, oh. I like cake.
A lot of triggers. A lot of triggers.
No.
To my immediate soft left no,
Yeah, that's good.
is Bart Millard. What does everybody call you? Not Millard.
Oh, Millard.
Millard. So,
Yeah.
did you write that song with Bart Millard? Like, nope. I don't know who that guy is. Are you friends? Nope. He is not my friend.
Too good.
Anywho, Bart, we've got some real strong questions for you later that hopefully you'll start getting excited about and nervous about right now.
Okay. All right. Oh, like now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm starting to get nervous now. Gotcha. We're going to pause and let
Yeah.
you get nervous.
Cats or dogs?
Oh, I've got both.
He's got both, you guys. It's so stupid.
It is.
I mean, we've made fun of cats before, and then all of a sudden you have a cat.
Is it a house cat or a barn cat?
It was we got it to catch mice, but it's never been outside in its
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It's Sam's fault. It's a great story if you have time.
Yeah. And then you got a dog for Sam as well.
We've gotten 3 dogs for Sam in his life. 2 live with my in-laws, and we have 1, and then we have another one.
Bart is one of my BFFs, and thankful for him in so many different ways, and we get to actually do life together, which is pretty great. And we both have 20 kids. He has 24, and I've got 20.
Yes.
And they're all BFFs, so that's a real gift. So I wrangled him in this morning. Well, most people know Bart as the lead singer of Mercy Me, or from the song and now the movie called I Could Only Imagine. But I get to call Bart friend. And to be honest, I could care less about any of his accolades or his titles, because he's just the dumb guy that I get to spend most of my time with. Bart is a great dad, he's a great husband, and perhaps one of the wisest men that I know. Now, if you have ADD, you're going to love this podcast. And if you get frustrated by the constant jumping around, well, just stick in there, because there's gold around each corner. When I envisioned these 10,000 Minute Experiment podcasts, my hope was that you, the active listening participant, would feel like you're on a walk with me and my friends, listening into our honest conversations around how Jesus invades our chaos and the mundane. So get out your walking shoes. I think you're going to love this. Okay, so we're going to go into the experiment. So this past week, by the way, we are counting how many times Bart drinks from his coffee mug.
The Christian drinking game. You need to cut that out too, probably.
Nope.
Go ahead. I'll just.
Nope. Okay, do you like old-fashioned?
Yeah.
Ice cream? Or do you like Margaritaville as a
Right.
song? Okay.
Yes.
Anywho, so we're going to go into the practice. So the practice we're working on this week, we've been walking through or not walking through, and no shame either way, is that we've been joining Jesus. So the song that we just heard a little bit of, because again, we all cried.
When God Ran by Benny Hester.
Yes. Gosh.
It's a good one.
No, it's a song called This Is the Day, Bart.
What?
Almighty God.
The great.
Yeah, 3 people will get that.
Sadly, that's the 3rd time this week I've referenced that.
You used that
I
bit?
actually texted the lyrics to Ben Shive, who woke up in the middle of the night and said I was singing When God Ran, and I knew you'd know.
Gosh.
Yeah. So.
Well, Ben Shive produced this song, so I think we're doing great. This is the day.
There's the connection.
But the practice this week was, as my dad said a long time ago, and I remember this when he said, in the morning, you can either say, good God, it's morning, or we start out the day saying, good morning, God. How do I just join you in this day? You know, we talked last week about what do we do when we wake up, and whatever needs to happen during the day. I just go straight there and how that shapes our day. So that was the practice this past week. And so how did we do? Like, what did we learn? It was an experiment. Did it totally suck? Did it work? Bart, you first.
Okay, perfect. I was like,
Are you serious?
No.
I'll go first. It sucked so bad. Like literally from day one, it just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
During our walk this morning, we talked a lot about it, and Lord knows what it is within me that's doing it, but it just has failed for me miserably.
Yeah.
It's like I went to Christian college for like a second, and whole nother story. Yeah, I got kicked out. It's weird. Ozark. OCC.
You really did? You got kicked
Yeah,
out?
for real. Yeah, me and my brother. It's a short stint. Played some basketball. Didn't go to class.
What school is this?
Ozark Christian College for all of the Crusaders out there. I heard a story that Rich Mullins got kicked out of the same college. It may be not true, but you had to go to chapel.
Right.
And when I was like told that I had to, it's like, nah,
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
But so I always remember in college, it's like I had a way better relationship with God when I was at the state school, and I just had to do it on my own. That's kind of how I felt this week.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what?
I love it.
Yeah, I've failed miserably. We could dive deeper, but that's the 10,000-foot view.
Okay, I have a question. Is there a different Ozark College, or is that the one?
I think that.
Is that the one that like Walmart gives to
Could
Anyway,
be, I don't know.
small world. I was a horrible high school student.
Okay.
Like literally third from the last in my graduating class
Okay.
because I just didn't.
But how
get
big was the class?
74,000 students.
I was like, wait.
No, we were like 400, something like that.
Okay,
but
that's not bad.
but I just never went, and so my grades were terrible, but I was good at testing, and so I got a really high ACT and SAT score,
That'll get
and
you
I got a
chancellor's
full
scholarship.
ride to Ozark, and I was like, "There's no way I'm not gonna go to. You're not giving me a scholarship to learn,
Yeah.
like to be a smart kid,
Yeah.
Just want all my Ozark Christian College Crusaders to know that Bart Millard did not go to your school.
Yeah.
He came, he saw.
Nor did Bart Millard.
Yeah.
Yeah, did I say Millard?
But Bart
yes.
Millard did. Okay.
and Bart Myler did as well.
03 to
Yeah,
07.
there's several.
Yeah, I still don't know that guy.
Bart Millard did
Yeah.
not come to your school.
Yes.
He came. He
Yes.
looked at it. He
Nothing
said,
against them. Just
He said no, thank. No, it's
huge
at
mistake to give me an academic scholarship.
Millard.
Yes,
Crying.
French.
I think for me this week, this was a really hard one for me. This has been one of my favorite practices, but this week was really difficult. And I had a terrible week with just family stuff, not my wife and kids, but just bigger family stuff. And I know the Psalm 118 was written in that crazy, dangerous, wild time, when they're saying, "This is the day the Lord has made, I'll rejoice and be glad in it." I was like, there's just not much to be glad in some of these days. And really the word glad is contentment. And I've been waking up, which is not a normal thing for me. I've worked through so much of my worry in life, but I've been waking up every night in the morning thinking about this thing. It's been really hard for me to actually join Jesus in these moments because I'm kind of mad about it, which is just, I don't know, it just caught me different this week than it has other weeks.
I guess I have a question. Like, what does it look like for Jesus to be with you in those moments when you're mad? I think when we think about joining Jesus, being with him, there might be an expectation of how we should be. But what would it look like to think about it that throughout the week, Jesus was with you and that's still the same thing in a sense?
Yeah, I think I did. Maybe this practice is so passive in and of itself. There's not like bake a cake for a neighbor or, that this is just an awareness of his presence.
Yeah.
I almost felt like I didn't do it. I'd wake up in the morning. There's this song that I wrote years ago, a pastor that I worked with. Oh, this is not even worth getting into. Oh, it's so dumb. We're going to cut this. We're going to erase this from the sphincter.
There's only 6,000
Got
minutes
7
left.
minutes left.
But I remember this song. So today I'll sing your, or today I'll.
Oh, we are singing it. Okay.
Your mercy.
We're going to cut. No.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to do it, guys, but you come on.
That is so
There was like this
real.
Michael Jackson thing this week where Oprah's like, I want to see you do a couple moves, and he's like, well, I'm rusty, and he like gets up and then just starts moonwalking and stuff.
Let's just cut this out.
Like-
It's so embarrassing. You come on. It's so great.
Get on the imagine.
Totally. That's what I should have done. I should have hit that bit. Dang it. Oh, to hell with the devil.
2,847 minutes left. I'm just going to count out of 10,000 minutes. Told me no cuss.
There's a song. There was this poem that was, "Good morning, Lord. It's good to see the sun again. Good morning, Lord. Great to talk to you again. Each day is a gift."
Well, you called it a poem, which is my first.
Well, because it was a poem. The joke is that a pastor of mine in the past, he said, "Tim, I got some lyrics for you. Would you put this to a song?" And I'm like,
mistake number one.
Yeah, I mean, sure, man. And so I did, and I put this to a song, and it was a powerful song. I mean, we would all be on the floor if I actually sang it. Yeah.
Now.
He said, "Man, I got this verse. I think it'd be great." So I wrote this chorus to it. I'm like, that's gorgeous. I love this chorus. So then,
and then you were sad that you put it with the
yeah. So we did this thing, and then later I found out, and so he would always tell the church, Tim and I wrote a song together. You know,
what's his name?
Doesn't matter. So when Billy Graham would always go up on stage, so he would tell people that we wrote the song, and later to find out that the verse was a poem. No, that somebody else had written.
No.
Plagiarism.
And he had no clue. Put it to music.
And so I fully put this song, you know, we did a record for the church. This was a long time ago. And I put it on there. This guy, oops.
Come to find out, it was the Pledge of Allegiance.
I almost said his name. This guy, and I wrote the song. And I've given him grief about this, so I think we're fine. But it's a Pledge of Allegiance, that's what you said?
Oh,
So
Gary.
Gary and I... Anyways. Oh my gosh, we're so off topic. I love it. So Gary and I wrote this song with some other poem writer. Anyways, the point of the song, crap.
Is the song anywhere to be like?
Can we listen
It didn't
to it?
make
We
it.
could.
Is it on your
do it.
mic?
Hold on, time out. It got recorded.
Yes, it got recorded, and we put it out like just as a church album. This wasn't like,
Okay.
you know, this was pre. No, you can't even find it. You can't even
Can't
find it.
get sued.
I promise. Shoot. No, you
Sure?
can't find it.
Does
You
the
can't
church
find
start
it.
with an M?
Yes, it does.
All right, we're going.
No.
That's a big church.
No, because this was pre all that
Yeah, we'll
stuff.
see. Give me a random. Just you don't tell me the title, but use it in a sentence.
There's a MySpace.
What does it
page
rime
out there
with?
somewhere.
Yeah. It was called "Good Morning, Lord." No, you're not gonna find it.
If there is a God. No.
There's no way you're gonna find
Well,
it.
not if I write "Good Morning, Lord." That doesn't work. My thumbs are so fat.
That's what happens
Just saying.
when you invite your BFFs to a podcast.
It's so true. It's so true. The other ones have been so smooth.
Come on. Keep going. You go ahead. We're going to find it.
I guarantee you're not gonna find it.
We got to order lunch.
Are you sure? Quit looking at my phone.
You're not gonna find it.
Is that the small phone or are your hands that big?
Oh,
It's the
my
iPhone 12 mini, guys.
gosh.
Come on.
Not the mini. This
I
is
just
the
had to
normal
jump
size
in.
phone.
I'm sorry, Millard. I just had to jump in.
Just call me Hagrid next time. I love you. He goes, is that a normal size phone? He's like, it's called the mini. This is an iPad.
Listen,
This is an iPad.
don't be ashamed of the
This
mini.
is the big iPad I'm holding. You guys jerks.
The mini's trending, okay?
I'm holding an iMac in my lap.
Oh my gosh.
Good morning, Lord.
It's my favorite one.
No,
Yeah.
you still can't. You can't find it.
Oh,
I will play it for you guys.
no.
I will totally
Live?
play it for you
You
guys.
just sang half of it.
Yeah. Or did he?
Shazam
That
it.
or the national anthem. We don't know what you just saying. All right, there's pastor's check
But was
in.
it like-
That's not right.
Robert Frost? Like, which
Yeah, right.
poet?
I don't even know. I don't even know who the poet was, but it was straight up plagiarism.
I love
and
that.
so I was going out there like, yeah, this is a song we wrote together, and again, this is pre putting it out on the worldwide interweb. It just was on compact disc.
Compact disc.
Oh,
You guys
man.
remember those?
Yeah.
Well, you had to have played it live in church at least once.
I did.
Oh, it's got to be out there. For someone that's so certain, you seem worried.
I'm a little worried, but I'll play it for you.
Okay, but it'd be more fun if it just started playing while
I
you're
think at the
plugging.
end of the podcast, you need to throw it, on for
do do
everybody to hear.
do 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 do.
Oh, gosh. This is a dumb podcast now. Okay, go ahead.
Moy, how'd your week go?
It took me a while to differentiate doing things for Jesus and
Yes.
being with Jesus.
Right.
Because I thought I was doing things with Jesus. So I have a brother who passed away. Don't mean to bring it down. So sorry. In 2011 from a weird like car accident. And every time I see a car on the side of the road, I like pray, but I'm doing it it's never been like I'm with Jesus knowing they're protected, but I'm interceding. It's like, it's just a habit now because of my own thing, but I'm not really being with Jesus in my wound, if that makes sense. I'm just kind of like touching it and we're passing on. And so this week and a half was like, whoa, there are things that I just do now that were kind of like a side effect of what I've experienced, but I'm not today presently like with Jesus. So it was hard. Some things were new. So being with Jesus and then praying for people, there was some kind of peace doing it. Other times doing the prayer would still leave me with anxiety and worry and all those things. But being with Jesus, there was just a different form of peace I got to taste this week and a half.
Yeah, I mean, one of our questions that we always ask is, did you do this with him or for him? And I think this week, unlike other weeks actually, when I have been, this has been a practice of mine, I did it this week for him for the most part, and it failed miserably in that way, you know? Again, no shame attached to that whatsoever. It was just interesting knowing that I'm going to come back and talk about it. I started doing it. I did it for him. It's the whole point of this practice was actually to just realize that you're with him.
Right.
Bart, you have any thoughts?
What's interesting is initially when Tim kind of told me about it, I think that for a lot of years, I have got to the point of understanding that Christ is in me, that I'm always with him. My initial reaction was that I kind of went back to, you know, I grew up where if I do this morning well, then I'm more with him. You know, and so it was like this, and so it became kind of somebody, we say, don't should me, don't tell me what I should do. And so I immediately went there, not like towards you, but I was like, I instantly went back to, man, I don't know how many quiet times I've done thinking that I would then be with God, you know, as if I wasn't otherwise. So I was really intrigued that I went back to it so fast. Almost defiant, like, I'm not doing this. You know,
It's funny that we all did.
But then I was like, okay, you know, there's something too, like in Hebrews, it talks about, you know, the Jewish Christians, whatever you call them, or the Hebrews are encouraged to not harden their heart to the Spirit. There's something to that, to where, and I've been trying to explain to my kids during the pandemic this idea of like trying to live a Spirit-led life, not Spirit-filled. That's a whole different thing. It's a pet peeve of mine. So I think the Spirit's in you the day you start this journey, and trying to explain to them that, man, it, you know, in kids' terms, like, man, we stop at the same red light, and there's this guy asking for money every day, and so this all has a point. But and one day I gave him money, and then the next 20 I didn't, and my kids were like, okay, we're curious, because they're like, why then, not now, or whatever. And so I tried to explain to them. I was like, well, I said, I can go either way. I said, either, you know, and I tried to explain Hebrew. I said, I think that hardening your heart to the Spirit, I said, there are times to when I may feel led to do something, I ignore it. Doesn't mean I'm less saved or whatever. It may impact my quality of life. I may miss a blessing, whatever you want to call that. And I said, but it's okay. Jesus still loves me. Nothing changes. It's just more of like, I may have missed just a really cool opportunity. I said, on the flip side of that, I could do it once because I'm led, and then all of a sudden it's like almost becomes superstitious where I think I have to do it every time. And I'm not Spirit-led. I said, either way, either place could be kind of a dangerous place to be, you know, and just, you know, they both could be bad habits. And so I said, so it's just, you know, and try to explain to them. It's like, you know, there's just something in you that's like, you can't explain it, but today I just knew I was supposed to. And, you know, so we started going through these lessons of just people we wanted to try to help financially in different ways, and told them how, like, trying to live the fact that Jesus is just there. He doesn't come and go. He's just there. And it's more of accepting how crappy we can be at times, and him still be there. And not only that, but still be pleased with us. It's like, it's harder for us to accept than anything. And tell him, it's like, so my point is, like, I may miss these opportunities, but Jesus isn't right there going, oh man,
He blew it.
or whatever. But it's more like, you know, you'll get another chance. It's cool. You know, it's that kind of mentality. And then started leading him and just started helping. I said, man, it's weird, but your mother and I, we've always, you know, if we feel, we'll feel led to do something where it's a give. And it's so funny because 99% of the time I'll look at her and go, are you feeling it? And we'll always almost every time say the same amount if we're supposed to give or whatever it is. And it's kind of to where it's kind of uncanny. And so we decided to try to include our kids on this kind of stuff with some people right when the pandemic hit, just people we knew were, I said, man, who do y'all want to help? And one of them was like our barber that cuts our boys' hair, that has like 7 kids, and his wife stays at home. 2 kids have Downs, and he has one barber's chair. That's all he does. And they all like, we want to help him. And so it was amazing. And like, we talked about how much and went through the whole process.
Yes.
And then what I guess the coolest learning point was going through all that and then saying, just, you have to understand, if we never lifted a finger, Jesus is still okay with you.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus still adores you. This is not a bat phone to God, like we're better now.
Yeah.
And, and so it's funny, like I've always joked about it. It's like anybody, whether it's the music industry. I have a friend that's like a gambling addict, and he said, I have no problem losing. I have a very big problem winning, because it's hard to walk away.
Yeah.
And he's like, once you get it, it's like, oh, I could get it again. I could do it again. And that's what I was trying to explain to them. I was like, we're going to probably ignore Jesus more than we hear him.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But
Yeah.
just when you start thinking that the times I hear him, it's like a gold star and I'm a little bit, whatever. I said, does it impact your life and enrich your life greater? I believe so. Yeah. I mean, how do you not walk away, and not be affected by that?
Yeah.
Right.
But I tell them all the time, and you know this, but I constantly try to tell them, there's nothing you can possibly do to make Jesus love you more than he does right now.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do worse or less. It's just, it's not possible. And so anyway, and so it's funny because like, I totally got when you said the exercise, but I went the other extreme and was like, I just went to these weird kind of wounds and stuff that I grew up with. I will say that aside, on a practical side, I realized so much factors on my wife's attitude. When the morning comes, in the morning, it's like, if and I know it's no pun intended, the wrong side of the bed, but if she's having a bad day, I will heap that on my shoulders 100%, whether I want to or not. If she's having a great day, I'm good. And even in this, like, I was fortunate to have both. One was a bad one, and one was a great one with
Both
her.
wives?
One wife. I can never get both to be happy.
Yeah. It's so weird.
No, the first day, she was having a rough day. And not only
wife A?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. This is right.
Janet and Linda. No,
Will
Sorry,
not
sorry.
quit the bit.
Yes.
Will not.
What's crazy is that the last 2 nights I've stayed until 5 a.m. because my wife started watching this dumb Sister Wives movie show.
Oh, that's right. We did talk about
to
that.
where they're picking like
Yeah.
third wives
Yeah.
because we just don't have
The
enough.
movie or the show?
No, it's a
Thank
TV
you.
show.
Yeah, I've seen
Big Love.
But it's not that. It's a new one.
Is
And it's
it
these
the real
couples-
life one?
The couples are online trying to interview another wife.
Oh, wow.
So it's funny you say both wives because
So how many wives do you have then?
no, I don't have any yet. I've
Lord.
watched the show and decided bad idea. Yes, after thorough research. No, anyway,
Okay, sorry.
the first day, Shannon was having a rough day,
Thank you for the names.
and yes, Shannon was having a rough day, and it was amazing how not only did it affect me, but how I just completely forgot about the practice altogether. Like it just went out the window,
Yeah.
and then and the next day, and this morning too, things were great, and for whatever reason, I was more aware of the practice.
Totally.
It's her fault when you have bad days.
Well, yeah, Well, it's just like when like anything, when chaos or whatever hits. I mean, I can't find my wallet, much less remember what practice we're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
But when things are great, and it's like it's easier to kind of stay in that. Like everything comes unraveled, and I spent more time on the days where I was like, oh, like today was a good day. It's great. I better do it this morning. I got to go to a podcast, stuff like that. Like that was fine. I don't want to say like I was better for it or whatever. My point is on the days when I came unraveled.
Yeah.
There was a moment later in the day when I realized what took place, and I kind of just sat in him still being okay with me, and that him still being with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that did wonders for me.
Yeah.
Versus just, does that make sense? It's the same way some comedian talked about, man, if you go back to your childhood, you don't remember a lot of the good times, but you remember every time you were almost killed.
Yeah.
When your kids come in and they never blink and their eyes are really like, oh no, what have you done?
Yep.
And those are the things that change you. And it felt similar to that. Like on the good day, I was like, yeah, of course, that's great. Oh yeah. But on the days when it's like, and I think maybe it's a thing of like, geez, you have no reason to be around me on that day, but you still were.
Yeah.
That for me personally and what I grew up in,
Right.
was that was edifying more than anything.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah. And so it's funny because I thought I ruined it on the bad days, nailed it on the good days, but walked away more impacted from the bad days.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's what I should have said and saved 10,000 minutes.
No. What's so interesting about this practice is the practice actually is less about the practice, and it's more just about the awareness of the presence of God. I mean, that's what the practice actually is, and I think we're all so addicted to, in some ways, nailing the thing or doing the thing or pushing up against the thing. And this one, unlike the other ones, seemed to like it all kind of made us push up against the thing when we actually just wanted to do what the actual practice was. Was just to be aware of the presence of God. And Bart, you've taught me so much in this, and I love this. And we didn't come from the same backgrounds, and I'm always saying this with 10,000 minutes. Like, these are not things we're doing for God that we're earning anything, because He loves us the same today that He did yesterday. If I did the practice or not, there's zero change in our relationship to Him or His relationship to us. It's just our awareness.
I think it makes me think about too. Instead of learning to belong, I'm learning that I belong. Oh, wow. And I think that's the difference of the old covenant and the new covenant. And so as we live out our lives, it's like I belong all day with Jesus, instead of how it used to be where I need to learn to belong in how purity looks like or being complete. And I think that, the practice was so much more of just an alignment with the truth than it was to do something for the truth to be real.
That's good.
Like, I'm still haunted by Patrick and how he's like an adventure with Jesus. Like, that's exciting. Yeah. But even on like the worst days, I still belonged, and I didn't have to try to belong on those days. And that's what the practice kind of like challenged.
Well, you're like preaching to me today, I feel like. It's like everything you said has been like, oh yeah,
what?
That's why I sucked at this. That's why I, like, this was really hard.
Explain that.
I think both, like, the first thing you said about, like, being with or doing for, I'm a doer. So, like, and then I literally feel like we were, like, a day into this, and I was sucking, and I texted you guys, and I think I kind of gave up. Like, I was like, screw this. Like, I can't do this. For some reason. And then what you just said about belonging, like, trying to belong versus, like, no, you just belong. All I've done my whole life is try to belong. Right. You know what I mean? I've wanted to be the basketball player so people would like me, or I'm going to sing good so people will like me, or I'm going to, like, whatever it is. Even in this industry, it's like, well, I've got to have this and put on these things, and like, but really it's like, will you love me or will you just accept me? And so even in this practice, it's like, I'm still trying to do that with God and I guess myself in the same way. It's like, well, I screwed that up, so I may as well quit here. I can look back at the week and say, oh, God was in those moments. Like, there were some really cool moments that we had. But all day, every day, when I think about it, I'd be like, I'm failing at this.
Yeah. What's also interesting is that the point of this was the Psalm 18, that everything was going to hell. I mean, it was just crap season for the psalmist. It was in those moments when I'm totally with you. When Hill's having a good day, I'm having a good day.
Totally.
And it's their faults.
100%. This episode's called What's Up with Women?
Yeah. But it
boy,
is,
where are you going? Come back.
Yeah. That's right. I'm staring right at you,
the door
Millard.
just opens
right
and shuts.
at you, buddy.
This was sound
We'll
effects.
talk outside.
I think for me, the reason why this was so important to me, and I didn't do it well this week because I think I did it for him. I was more focused on the practice than the presence of God this week. Yeah. When that was the actual practice, you know. But that it's in those crazy times that he was, or she was, whoever the psalmist was praying this prayer. This is the day you have made. I will rejoice. I will find joy and contentment in just your presence. Like that's really what the whole purpose of it was. Why is that so hard for us? I'm just trying to figure out, this is called the experiment for a reason.
Right, sure.
What do we learn from it? Because even if the practice sucked, we're still going to learn something about ourselves, each other, and about God in the midst of it. So I'm just curious, what in us runs away from just the awareness of the presence of God when we are in a tough season, or things aren't going my way that day, or I'm stressed, or...
In places of stress, I will put things on my back and say, I'm going to earn this or do this or be this. You can come if you want, God,
Yeah.
but I got it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I lived a lot of my life like that. And it did fine until it didn't. For me, it was like, made a bunch of money but lost my family. And was a big kind of an awakening to learn how to not be that person.
Yeah.
So I think in this practice, like a little bit of that comes out. It's like, no, I'm going to do this.
Nail
But
it.
if I can't do it, like
Yeah.
literally the practice is not doing anything, I'm like, oh, this is against like everything that I am.
If we took the practice out, the should do thing, which is so funny because it's not what it was at all, but
We all made it that.
yeah, in a sense, and we hear it that way. And so I think this practice is really saying, how do we just be more aware of our identity?
That's everything. I mean, me being the 6 and having trust issues, like, and just a lot of that came out of my childhood of just, so much instability. I hear stories of people having loved ones to where it's like they love you unconditionally. I didn't have many in my life growing up, but those ones that are like, I'd take it back. My grandmothers were that way, to where there was never an issue of trust or that what could I possibly do to make them walk out. Like it was a given, no matter what I did, they will never leave. And so to me, that's like, okay, that's the healthy view of Jesus that I haven't had most of my life. And so to even say I need to live where I'm more aware of Jesus being present still isn't necessarily a positive thing unless I get to the point of, oh, I'm aware that he's present and absolutely adores me no matter what.
Right. That's good.
And so yeah, being aware is like the boogeyman in your closet sometimes.
Right,
And-
because his presence could be, he could be like saying, you
well, he's
suck.
always watching.
You
Yeah,
suck.
Right.
You can't hide, and that's
Yep.
like kind of creepy. But the fact that there's no reason to hide, even on my worst possible
Right.
day, when I lose my cool with my
So
kids
good.
or whatever.
So good.
Yep.
That he's that one that doesn't see me differently, which is hard for me to comprehend because it's just it doesn't exist, or I didn't think
Yeah.
it did. And so that's the for me to be reminded of that and be aware of it is usually when I take time to be alone, or just, not to sound cliche, but literally to be still and know, which I don't do a lot of. It's typically if I'm driving,
Yeah.
or I have severe ADHD, and the only time that I don't have it is with my hands on the wheel because I don't want to die. And so that's where I write everything. It's where I do everything is driving. And so it's usually those moments. But yeah, it's literally for me just stopping.
So do you have to stop and remember who, I mean, this is the ABCs of actual worship, of our attention, is stopping and remembering who he is and having a right view of him. And then it's turning it back on you and with that filter.
Yeah, it's getting past me just being aware that he's present, and the shame and the fear and the weirdness that's with that, but getting to, oh, right, and he is crazy about me.
Yeah.
Like at my absolute ugliest, he is somehow crazy about me. And that's the practice of, like, if you tell yourself that enough, if you stand around truth enough, it's going to start to change you. You're going to start to believe it. And so that is a practice of just like, and it feels like I could do it a million times and get in a really great place, but then it takes one moment.
Yeah.
And everything feels like it comes unraveled.
Yeah.
And that's for me. That's not, nothing changes. He's still there and he's still aware.
Yep.
I've just kind of lost sight.
I guess that's the question is, what does it mean to lose sight?
I think for me personally,
Yeah, for you.
is to lose sight of the fact that he's okay with me, and that he's always there. I've settled in that he's always there.
Yeah.
I really,
Yeah.
100%. I still work at sometimes always there is that he's ashamed of me or that he's disappointed.
That's what you hear.
And yes, and so that's losing sight.
Yeah,
That's
good.
it's not that I've never thought he's ever left me in my worst times of my life. That has never crossed my mind. It's more of he has to be appalled by me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so that's losing sight and falling back into that shame and, you know, the past and all this crazy stuff. And I go there often, you know, it's like, somebody told me that whatever the preacher preaches most about is probably what he's struggling with the most. And I feel like I talk about this more than anything, and, you know, and will for the rest of our career. Is just, you know, it's, you know, somebody asked me one time, they emailed us and said, like, I mean, you keep saying that he's okay with us. He's okay with us. I'm like, because I need to hear it. It's like, I'm not even thinking about you. Sorry, but I need to keep saying it out loud. And I will. Like even with Shannon having a bad day and it derailing me. And we've talked about this, but if something's wrong, like if you know, our kids fail a test, or if just Shannon's having a bad day, for some reason I put all that on my shoulders. That's on my watch. It's my fault. As a father, as a whatever you want to call it, as a provider, if she's having a bad day, I instantly think it's because I missed something. It does it, dude. And I'm not kidding. Like, we have a crack in the drywall of our house, and she was like. And I said, it's fine. I've asked some people. And then she was like, can I have the number of the builder? Because I want him to check. And I instantly took that like that was all me.
Like an offense.
That was all me.
Yeah, you blew it.
And it's like, and it was her basically telling me that you suck as a husband. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
And she'll to the point to where we've been married for 23, 24 years. And she's like, she will, in that moment too, she goes, okay, first off, this is not a slam on you. She has to say that. And that ticks me off too. Because she knows me that well, and she's like, this is not ever, you know. But so I will. That's losing sight is falling back into that, and it feels like you climb this whole mountain to get up on a unicycle on a tightrope. It's like you do all this work to be on the most unstable ground, not Jesus, but me. To where it's like I did it, and then you fall over with just a slight breeze, and that's the irony of it all. But it's like this. What we're doing now is like this kind of stuff is big for me. It's just, and it's the same as like confessions. Like saying this stuff out loud is me being aware and being reminded, and that's why you do the podcast. That's why you write the songs. Sorry, the short answer.
Yeah, please don't speak anymore.
Yes. You're listening to 11,000 minutes.
All right, Bart. So this is 10,000 questions right here.
Okay,
we'll take 10,000 minutes. Right. Who's your favorite cartoon character and why? And this is a speed round, by the way.
Cartoon character, comic book or
Bart? I asked one question.
Calvin Hobbes.
Like Calvin Hobbes and why?
Just
that's two
smart
cartoons.
Butts. Okay,
Never
Calvin.
fails.
Oh, wait, which one's the kid?
I don't honestly know.
Did you say smart butts?
Yeah, they're just they're
Smart
sarcastic
butts.
and well, I didn't want to say the other one. Just saying, you said no cousin.
Yeah. So what's your favorite dumb phrase? I think smart butts is number one.
Crying.
Okay, if a movie was made of your life, what genre would? Oh yeah, crap. Who'd play you? These questions suck.
So dumb.
Okay, describe yourself in 3 words. Go.
Was that a real question?
No, it actually was a question.
So dumb.
And I just thought it was funny because I thought it was
Funny you should ask.
funny.
What was the other question?
Describe yourself in 3 words. Go. It's a speed round.
In 3 words.
Yep. Okay. Maybe next question.
I'm an okay.
Very fluffy.
Very fluffy.
My wife asked me to do that to her the other day. I was like, Mom. She was like, what?
Oh yes.
You're a mom. She was so mad.
12-year-old. That's what I would put. 12-year-old.
12-year-old. Okay, that's good. What is one thing that annoys you the most?
One? Just one.
Or a few. Give me a few.
A few is the third sneeze.
Oh,
Sneeze is
that's
coming
real.
too. Have you not ever noticed when there's a
That's
third
real.
sneeze? It kind of bugs me a little bit.
They just want attention now.
I think so. It's all about them.
Needy.
Ordering drive-through for my children.
Yes, we talked about that.
That'll. I'm hoping Jesus does step out.
I have
when that happens.
breakdowns.
I do too.
Just because.
I'll circle. I'm come around the horn. I'll come back around.
I will not go back through.
Yeah.
It makes
See?
me so mad.
Why does it annoy you so much?
I don't like people waiting on me or being unprepared. It's like, especially when the line goes faster than we thought. I'm like, what do you want?
Yes.
I'm like,
I
it's
feel
just-
seen.
Yep.
What is your favorite joke?
My favorite dad joke is, and the Lord said, come forth and you'll have eternal life. Sadly, I came in 5th and I got a toaster.
It's like a dad Christian joke.
Yeah.
No.
That's
Which
the one
is
I keep
another
using.
level.
My
Yeah.
band crew hates me for it, but I keep using it, and my kids hate me for it too. But
So you say that one often? I don't think I've ever heard you say that.
really,
Yeah.
oh, I say it all the time. I just think it's funny and dumb. I came in 5th and got a toaster.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Any other ones?
Foreman Grill.
Yeah, no, that's the best one I got.
Okay, so if you were made, your life was made into a movie. Okay, so if you had access to a time machine, where and when would you go?
Shea Stadium to see the Beatles play.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would
Okay, strong. That's a wrong answer, but it was
God.
strong.
Oh, and see Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, that's the correct answer.
I was hoping you wouldn't say that. Actually,
Yeah.
I was like, please don't give me
Golgotha.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first thing you think of when I say this, nickname. First thing that comes to your mind.
Hovercraft.
Say less. Say less.
That was I played basketball, church league basketball, and I had a 1-inch vertical,
Which
and
is
so my
intense.
name on my jersey was Hovercraft.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Because of my 1-inch vertical.
Been kicked out of so many church league basketball.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hovercraft. Okay,
Hovercraft.
first thing you think of, wet or dry?
I'm sad to say wet. I don't know why, but that's the first thing came to mind.
Best or worst tour prank?
I hate all tour pranks. So
Yes.
the worst
Me
is
too.
like what's done to me.
Okay, what's the worst one that's been done to you?
I got duct taped to my mic stand and had syrup and flour poured on me
Oh my!
by Cutlass and Audiodrenaline.
Oh my gosh. Okay, two more. Greatest fear.
Failing.
That got real. Favorite kid.
Sophie.
Yeah.
Hands down, no question. Not even close. Just in the pandemic, she rallied hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all played Fortnite and she hung out with me the whole time,
Yeah.
so she wins.
Yeah. Okay.
No, really, she's my favorite. Like,
I love that.
No. That's the ongoing joke. I tell them all, you're my favorite, don't
Yeah.
tell the others.
Yeah, I've started to do it with my kids because
Yeah.
Bart does that, and I watch him. I'm like, that's genius. I'm going
No,
to
you're my
start
favorite,
doing
don't
that.
you?
Yeah,
There you go.
This feels right. Bart, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, man.
So, friends, if this has been helpful, would you subscribe to this or even just rate it for us or make some comments only if they're good? And if you want to get free text messages that will encourage you during the week, then text 10K in the subject line to the number 55678. So the number is 55678, and then you text 10K, 10K, and we'll send you all that stuff. Or just go to 10,000minutes.com and let us know how this is helping. So here's the introduction to the practice, the experiment that we're going to try out this next week. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so we're back. We've got Moy Donice.
Hi.
We've got Chris Cleveland
What's up?
from The Stars Go Dim.
Oh yeah.
What if it was The Stars Go Dim?
Whatever.
Okay. So
We'll circle back. We'll circle back.
what I love about that last hang with Bart was, and for all of us, is that I love that this is actually called the experiment because these are experiments, not things that we've nailed.
Yeah.
And I think there are things that are being revealed even in those conversations about us. And I am curious, and we did talk about it on our walk. Chris and I talked about it on our walk this morning about, because we go walking,
We do. We walk.
but of why it was such a hard
Yeah.
practice. So this next practice, I'm actually excited about. So we're starting a new series right now, what we like to call a new series. It's called Rethink. And
Great.
so we're going to go into words that are just kind of like religious words that we've always just said. And I just want to rethink our thinking. So to repent something is to rethink our thinking on something. So this is rethink #blessed. That's what these next 3 weeks are going to be. So, I mean, that phrase is thrown around so much, like, I'm blessed. God blessed me here. I'm so
Yeah.
blessed by this. I just got a job. I'm blessed.
Yeah.
So what does the word blessed mean to you? Like, when you hear that word, what do you think?
I think like Kirkland's makes a lot of money off of signs. My mom buys all of them. I saw a picture of my mom in a football game the other day. Her mask had blessed on it. I was like, my mom, love you, Mom, really do.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've made a catchphrase out of it a bit.
Yeah.
And it looks great on our walls. I don't know what it means.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Moy?
Makes me think of Bruno Mars and the lyrics, Julio get the stretch, right?
The stretch.
Yeah. And then he says, like, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
#blessed. He
Yeah.
says literally,
Makes me
yeah.
think of, like, yeah, when, like, it's flowing, when the money's flowing, when the things are flowing, I'm blessed.
Yeah, so the question is, when do you feel blessed? I mean, think about
Honestly-
it. Honestly, like if how we use that in our own life, and let's not try to overthink this. Just
Yeah.
how do you feel?
I feel the most
When do you feel blessed?
like in the moments when I can recognize, like, be present in the moments, like with my kids and family. But I hate using that word because
Right.
it feels like such a word that I would use in a interview with the radio station.
Right.
Because they want to hear it.
Yeah.
If that makes any
Yep.
sense.
Yep. Yeah. What about you?
When I feel blessed, I feel spoiled. And a little bit of it brings me shame. So, not that I don't love being blessed, but I sometimes feel like, is everyone else being blessed? I feel a little unbalanced.
Yes.
And I have a hard time celebrating what I think blessings are. So, it feels like a little bit of too much spotlight on me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
So like that boldness of like, Julio, get the stretch. Like I wouldn't flex like that. I'd be like, I don't want anyone to know I have a limo or a
Right.
cool friend named Julio. Like
Right.
that's too much. That's too much. But and I would be like, but we should all have limos and we should all have Julios. And so I shouldn't have this. Like blessings are weird with me.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the phrase of being blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I actually, that resonates with me as well, that I think through, why am I so blessed? I've said this. Why am I so blessed to live where I live, to have what I have, all the things? And apparently that's actually not even the definition, the biblical definition.
Like I wonder, like, blessed are all those things.
come on.
Like, what was he actually saying? Like, what does that mean? How
Yes,
have
go.
we screwed this up? I don't know.
He was
I'm
saying
asking.
everyone gets a limo. He was
Right.
saying
Yeah.
everyone's getting a chauffeur.
Why are there kids dying right now? You
Yeah.
know, we've all been on trips and compassion trips where you see these crazy stories of these kids
Yeah.
dying. It's like, well, so are they not blessed, and I am blessed? Or
A lot of
you know,
times I walk away from those trips thinking, oh gosh, they got it way more right than I do.
yeah, but that doesn't fit in our American, whatever, Western, or our religious idea of blessing.
Yep.
Or who carries it too. Just the idea of going to a place like that. And it's like, oh, am I the blessing?
Right.
So like, was there a lack of?
Right.
Those things are trippy.
Who's the mission trip for?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
what in the world?
We're going to get into the definition of blessed. So we're going to take 3 weeks on this. This week is on blessed in my stress.
Which I don't know if we know I don't think that's connected yet to
Blessed,
our heart.
blessed, not stress. What's the phrase?
Too blessed to be stressed.
Too blessed to be
stressed.
Thank you, Kirklands.
Right. right.
And all the stressed people out there are like, well, great. Screw me. Like,
Yeah,
don't worry
that's
about
right.
me, guys.
Oh, I'm in the message. That's why.
The message is fire, though.
It's,
I've been on the message for like 2 years.
it's so good.
I just needed a
Fine, you win.
change. Thanks.
Yeah. I've been on for 3 years.
Oh, have you?
Sweet.
I love how you took that as like I thought I was cool.
You're such a
Like,
blessing.
I've been on it for a while. I don't know. It's like a club
Ahead of
that I know
the
about.
trends.
It's like, yeah.
I love that I've used the message version in some of my videos or whatnot, and I always get a text or comment from somebody
That's
going,
not the
that's
Bible."
not the original Bible. I mean, it's like, oh my gosh.
You're like,
Yeah,
I lent.
I know.
Like, I loaned. Someone has my King James.
Yeah.
I can't grab it right now.
Yeah. So the definition of blessed is favored
Okay.
or favor. And then there's also made holy.
Made holy.
Right.
Made holy with a H.
Well, actually, what's so cool about it is it's actually both.
Right.
So
It's-
made like whole.
It's
Because
made-
holy
Yeah.
is the definition of holy is to be made whole. So it's like
W-
layered here.
Wow.
So to be blessed, the definition would say to be blessed is to be made holy, which is being made whole.
Wow.
Ta-da.
Yeah, in the crappy situations of life, like that's actually, if we think about where we've actually been made whole, if I think about that, holy, but really WHOL, yeah, I'm actually being made whole in the crappy situations that I would never say I am being blessed.
Right.
Right. Which brings more curiosity into the Beatitudes.
Yes,
Because when you read those, you're like, that's not why I bought my #bless sign.
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to read. I love that you brought that up, Chris. So in Matthew 5, Jesus is saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of God. Blessed or blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for living, right ways, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacekeepers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness," which just stops me in our place right now, thinking how many times we think we're being persecuted right now. Burp.
Oh boy. Not ready.
"For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad." That's from last week.
Yep.
"Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven."
I would love to dive into the back end of that for
There's just a lot.
long time.
I mean,
A lot.
that is worth
There's a lot
diving
there.
into.
Yeah.
So we're not going to right now.
Perfect.
But
Sweet.
the idea for this week, because there are so many different interpretations of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Molly and I talked about it earlier this week, how one of my favorites is a guy named Dallas Willard.
Okay.
And he talks about these are not things that we need to go do. These aren't things we need to go attain so that we are blessed.
I wanna
But
be-
it's places you find yourself
Yeah.
Right.
in life.
Okay. Yeah.
And there are so many different interpretations of this, and everybody thinks that theirs is right, which is great. So if blessed this week, blessed in my stress, how am I being made whole this week? So if the fullness of God is already in us, we don't have to work for the fullness of God. It's like the fruit of the Spirit is actually in us. It's just a matter of us tapping into the Spirit.
Okay.
Or not even it's our awareness of the Spirit for me.
Yeah.
So when I'm tapped into the Spirit, when I'm plugged in, as Jesus would say in John 15, when I'm attached to the vine, that's when the nutrients actually comes out of him into me. So the fruit actually then will bear in my life.
Okay.
So the blessing here is that we would actually see more of the fullness of him in life. But it only happens in crap. Thoughts. Go.
Well, I mean, it flips it, because when I say we, but I think in the past when the blessing has made me uncomfortable, or I'm thinking about how I'm blessed right now, it feels unnecessary. But if we're thinking about completion or being made whole, then it is necessary. Like me being blessed in that moment is because I came up short with whatever I had. So being blessed is not an extra sprinkle of God over my life. It's the completion of how I was not complete without it. And so I think that's just gonna change the way I see, again, we've been layering it, but just the way I see the best and the worst parts of my day. And I think you reading the Beatitudes, I think hopefully we all resonate with something. So I even think about like those who mourn are blessed, and how I'll always feel incomplete without my brother. And the fact that I'm being blessed by God completing the rest of that. It's like, wow, I'm always being blessed. And I wasn't seeing it that way.
What's the blessing in your situation with losing your brother? What does it mean that you're blessed in that situation? Because this stuff, so much of our Christian, and I'm putting that in quotes, lives seem to be put into this crazy thing where it's like, be joyful in this situation. But that's not even what joyful means. So what does it look like for you to actually still be blessed with losing your brother? And you may not have a good answer to that.
Yeah. I mean, off the bat, I think a blessing would be that not all was lost. And I think that's a thing with grief. Like you just feel like everything moving forward will be less than what it was. Yeah. And God blessing me is that the next season is always doubled with his love, and there's always so much more. It's not like I'm slowly leaking a thriving life the older I get, but it's that like things continue to bless me, make me whole, even though I'm always broken in this part of my life, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's so much more I'm going to dive into with my grief, but
What is God using in your life to make you whole? Just as you think about these past few weeks.
I think we kind of talked about this morning. Like growing up, I grew up in kind of not an abusive, like immediate family, but there was like a lot of sexual abuse that happened down through my mom's side of the family that trickled into grandkids and stuff. So as I was kind of telling him all of this stuff and we're thinking through it, I kind of stopped and said, honestly, this podcast has kind of been maybe a way for me, because I was talking about like just the story, but I can't figure out, I don't know the resolution yet. And maybe this is kind of like you with your brother too. Like, I don't know the good part. And I'm like, well, I could write a book about it, or I could do these things, but I'm like, I don't have the Jesus bow yet.
Yeah.
And I've told this to my wife. I'm like, I think I'm supposed to tell this story somehow, but I don't know how. Yeah. And so I think one of the things it could be for me is like just doing this podcast and being able to just have honest conversations about things like that. These things that just don't add up for me in Christianity or faith, or things that we've just screwed up, like being blessed, that is hard to unlearn. And then being able to come in and have conversations with other people and then hear you guys' perspectives on it. I think it's helped me, like in the process of making me whole in some of those places.
Yeah. I mean, it's why we want to do this rethink
Yeah.
concept, is let's rethink a bunch of this crap that we've just taken hook, line, and sinker.
Right. We've all put on like facades.
Yeah.
We're not living
and
like
not even
truth.
intentionally. I think like I just haven't even really thought of the word blessed, and when I've used that, it's not just the word that I've used, but it's the concept that actually comes along with the word that I've used that I actually believe in my heart. So I live out of the overflow of my heart, and in my heart, I actually believe that I am blessed because I had a song on do well on a single, or because I live where I live, or that I'm blessed. And it's always rubbed me so wrong. It was like, well, but that's what I believe to be true about God. He has blessed me. I don't know why he hasn't blessed other people.
right.
Yeah.
And it just is starting to jack me up a little bit.
You just can't align that when you go to the places and think, well, I guess God hasn't blessed them.
Yep. Yep.
It doesn't align, because blessing either works in like the slums of Guatemala
Right, Chris.
and here, or it doesn't work.
Yes.
Right? So, there's this place we've gone a bunch that has kind of hit my heart a lot in Guatemala. It's a literal trash dump. And people live there. They don't have any documentation. They don't exist.
Yeah.
And, if God isn't in the process of making them whole, like it, we've just got it wrong.
And I think I know that's a thing in my personal walk, like in counseling. My counselor will sometimes say, I think you were thinking of this word instead of that. And I think sometimes when we talk about blessing, we're talking about provision and what like provision could look like materialistically or whatever that means. Yep. But if we think about it, about being made whole, that could look like so many things, and that's so much more than just physical. It's like emotional, spiritual. Yep. But I think sometimes we're saying like, man, I'm so provided for. Yeah. But then that means we've canceled out a group of people we think God's not providing for.
Moy and I laughed about this earlier this week, that in one translation of the New Testament, the word bless or blessing or blessed was referred to 112 times. Oh, wow. And none of which connects blessing to material prosperity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're right. It's those
but we
words.
use it that way.
We use it that way.
How
It's just
do that?
I think you can interpret some of these scriptures like that.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we say God is good. Look at how God is good. Look at like my limo. Look at my, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We could all, at the end of this podcast, feel like, man, we now know a cooler word in Hebrew and in
So
Greek.
real.
And it's like, now we really know what the word blessed means. But who gives a crap if it doesn't actually,
Change.
enter into the daily rhythms of my life and your life. And so that's why this week we want to jump into this experiment, and we're trying to figure out what the experiment is, but that I am blessed in my stress. Like, how am I being made whole this week is actually the question. it's more of an awareness thing. Like most of these practices and experiments are actually more about awareness than they are doing something. And I think we all learned last week, it's not about doing these things. It's just, which is great. I mean, this is my deal, and I did it, right? But
I
it's
want to be such a better person. Like after season 1,
but hopefully and that's not
We're winning.
It's not it. It's that we will actually become more whole.
Yeah,
Like
we'll
that.
be
That's
more blessed.
Truly. I mean, I think my hope by the end of this thing, and as I've been doing these practices for years, and I want to do them in community with people, which is way more fun, and it just helps me process it.
Yeah.
But I'm becoming more and more beautiful and dangerous and powerful because I think I'm more aware of Jesus.
Yeah.
And I'm more aware of him inside of me. And so the fruit that is in the Spirit will start coming out of us instead of something we have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what gets me excited. So this week, it's really that we are blessed in our stress. Like, what's that look like? So specifically this week, when we are stressed and worried, when I write the X on my wrist, I want us to go, okay, I'm stressed right now. I'm feeling it in my gut. You set up, you feel it in the back of your neck.
Which I have been all week.
You have?
Yes. Wild.
And Chris, my favorite line from you is when
What
you're
did I
like,
say?
I just feel it in my head. I'm like, where? And you're like, well, the whole thing.
The whole
That was
head.
a few podcasts ago. It made me so laugh.
So
But
good.
this week, in our stress, because we all have it, we all carry it in different ways. And then in the next 3 weeks, we're going to be just trying to unpack this
Dive
whole
into
thing.
it. Okay, I love
But
it.
so the next week, how am I being made whole? So in our stress, in our worry about things, in our anxieties, and I'm not saying this is going to cure anxiety, cure our worry,
Right.
all that stuff. This is not the point. It's just in those moments, what would it look like if God were actually real and actually at work in these things? So
Right.
even if you don't believe that in the moment,
Yeah.
because we can call BS on that, right?
Yeah.
Yet let's just pretend as if he was at work.
Yeah.
There are many people on this that are probably like, I'm skeptical of even that,
that.
which I love, and I'm so thankful that you're on this because we all are too. But let's just pretend as if he was, live as though he was at work in these things. What would it look like, and how would he maybe be making us whole? How would we actually be blessed this week? So, if you guys want to jump into that with us, we will talk next week and just see how that went.
Sweet.
Excited.
Blessed.